After the lease was not renewed for Mr. Botterill's railway, Cleethorpes Borough Council moved to find a new operator for the miniature line. And, in January 1954, a meeting took place which would name the new operator, that new operator being Mr. Arthur Cleethorpe. With this came the birth of the Cleethorpes Electric Miniature Railway and his brand new battery locomotives. My name is Dylan, and this is the story of those locos. Built in 1954, these locomotives were quite large for the 10¼ inch gauge that they ran on, being 13 foot in length, 2½ foot in width, and 4 foot in height. The bodywork was of a freelance design, which was double-ended with a headlight placed centrally on the upper nose, showing some similarities to the Santa Fe F7s from the United States. Their wheel arrangement consisted of 2 4-wheeled bogies on each end of the locomotive, with 6 driving wheels in the centre. They were powered by 2 30-volt batteries and could reach a top speed of 30 miles an hour. These batteries powered a Metropolitan Vickers 5 horsepower DC traction motor which ran at 3000 RPM, which was transmitted to the wheels by triple chains on reduction sprockets. All 3 locomotives appeared to be visibly identical, with only difference being the liveries, one being blue and cream, the second being red and cream, and the last one was green and cream. When the electric railway opened on April 16, 1954, only 1 locomotive was in service, as it would seem the other 2 were not completed at this time. These locomotives served Arthur Cleethorpe well until 1959, when the railway was nationalised after being bought by Cleethorpes Borough Council, 11 years after the main line railways were nationalised. During the same year, a 4th locomotive was built in May 1959. It was to the same design and had a similar paintwork to the 3rd loco on the railway. Mr. Cleethorpe offered to sell it to the council, who declined the offer. Instead of running on Cleethorpes metals, she was taken north, all the way to Arbroath, Scotland, to Kerr's Miniature Railway. While all 4 of these locomotives were powerful, robust and efficient, there was always the issue of track repairs every so often due to the locomotives being so large with their wheelbase and the weight of the bank of batteries above the bogies. As the years went by, the locomotives were becoming more expensive to run and maintain, as their traction motors were now obsolete and new batteries were not cheap. At one stage there was talks of a replacement traction motor. However, the idea was quickly stopped in its tracks as it was not deemed satisfactory for the job they required it for, this motor being from a milk float from Clover Dairies Limited. As the railway opened for its 1971 season, behind the scenes the council were making plans to renew the railway, extending it north and south so it was closer to the promenades and the town. However, this plan did not feature the Cleethorpe locos. On Sunday, 10th of October 1971, the railway opened one final time before closing, bringing the curtain down on the railway that Mr. Botterill opened up back in May 1949 to make way for the new era of the railway and the unique 14¼ inch gauge. Whilst the railway was re-gauged, the council was still deciding what to do with the locomotives and left them in a pile in a local council depot down Poplar Road, left out in the open. It wasn't until October 1972 that the council discussed on disposal of the 3 locomotives and rolling stock. At a meeting, it was decided to advertise the locomotives and stock to the public and to take the highest bid. However, it wasn't until 1974 that this deal was completed and the locomotives and rolling stock was sold for the sum of £220. After being sold, the locomotives were taken to their new owner's home to have a new lease of life. However, one of the locomotives were experimented with and transformed into a 4-wheeled battery locomotive. It was trialled at the Audionautix Miniature Railway but wasn't successful, being sent back home for some more work to be done on it. The other 2 locomotives were to receive the same treatment but were scrapped around 1980. The locomotive, which was modified, was moved around some more and was modified once again, becoming a 4-wheeled petrol locomotive with an engine from a Robin Reliant. Once its new modifications were completed in 1987, she was moved to the newly opened Lakeside Railway in Roundhay Park in Leeds in 1989. She would run happily on this railway for many years until the summer of 2000, where her owner and the owner of the railway, James Kershaw, became ill and was forced to close the railway. The locomotive remained on site in the sheds. In May 2001, Mr. Kershaw passed away, leaving the locomotive without an owner and remained in the shed until the night of Tuesday the 21st of August 2001, as vandals set fire to the sheds, destroying them and the locomotive inside. What a sad end for the Cleethorpes Electric Miniature Railway's locomotives. Now, you may be asking, what about the fourth locomotive sent to Kerr's Miniature Railway? She arrived at Kerr's in May 1960. Mr. Cleethorpes included a free battery charger, telling Matthew Kerr it would get him by a season. By November in 1963, the locomotive was named Prince Andrew, but was normally known on the railway as the Deltic. She served the railway well, becoming the main source of motive power, replacing the steam engines, and served until being withdrawn in 1981 at the end of the season, still using the same batteries she arrived with and the same charger gifted by Mr. Cleethorpes. Prince Andrew lay out of use and remained out of the way until being broken up in October 1985. However, her bogies had further use under a coach. The only other thing to remain of Prince Andrew were her cab ends, which were kept in Arbroath. As we celebrated our 75th anniversary, one of the cab ends were brought out of storage and was painted up to represent her sisters that once served Cleethorpes. She can now be seen in the story of Cleethorpes Miniature Railways at Lakeside Station. We hope you enjoyed this journey through the history of the battery locomotives. If you did, why not leave a comment about your favourite part? Also, give this video a like. If you haven't yet, why not subscribe for more content? Also, don't forget to click the notification bell. My name is Dylan, and until next time, cheerio!